Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to episode 44 of Bell to Bell with Bobby Blaze. I am your host, Professor Jeremy Vollmer, and joining us now, the star of the show, Bobby fucking Blaze. What's happening, Bobby?
Oh, man, I'm working on about 2 hours of sleep, Jeremy, and it's good to be back, though, but I'm feeling a little bit ugly, and I'm feeling a little bit useless, but you know what? I know I'm not. I know I'm beautiful, and I know I'm productive because we're going to put out another great podcast on a Bell to Bell with Bobby Blaze podcast. So I hope the professor's got his thinking cap on, Bobby Blaze has got his on, and we're going to do a little digging on some ugly and useless belts in the world of professional wrestling.
That's right. There is nothing worse than something that is both unattractive and useless, and there have been many titles that have fallen into these categories. But before we get started, let's you and I talk for a minute because it is our 1-year anniversary.
Yes, congratulations, man. You dug this out of me over a year ago. We had talked about it for about 4 or 5 months. We kind of let things get together, had some ideas. We threw out some ideas. We played with it. I think we recorded 3. We, as you said, had them in the can. I think we actually aired last June the 9th or June the 5th. So yeah, we're 1 year in, man. And, I appreciate all the editing you've done. I appreciate all the topics. Thing is, we got a podcast and we've got fans.
Yes.
People are listening. So I want to say, hey, if you've been on since day one, man, I'm not going to mention everyone because sure enough, we'll leave someone out. But man, all you great fans that tweet for us, retweet for us, hook us up on Facebook, follow the YouTube page and all those things. We've come a long way in 1 year. So congratulations, Professor.
Yes. Yeah, you're right. We've got this handful of almost fanatical fans out there that have really supported the show. So thank you guys. You know who you are.
Yes.
Again, if we start trying to list you, we're going to leave people out. And rather than hurt somebody's feelings, I'd rather hurt all your feelings. That way we're all in the same boat together.
Exactly. And they do know who they are.
Yes, they do.
A good handful that really have gotten on board with this program, and we appreciate you guys.
Yeah, absolutely. I thank you guys. I think if you've just started listening recently, thank you as well. Thank you for giving us a shot. But we're not the only people with an anniversary right now.
Nope. Let's give a shout out to the hashtag BTT Booking a Territory to Mike Mills and that gang over there. Hey, man, they had just celebrated their 4-year anniversary of excellent podcast about old school professional wrestling. So Booking a Territory, Mike, and the guys, Harper and Doc. See, I didn't forget their names, Jeremy. I thought I would. But congratulations, guys, on your 4 years.
Yeah, that's awesome. 4 years of podcasting is a lifetime of other entertainment. Yeah. So congratulations. That is really, really awesome. Before we get started, Bobby, let's talk a little bit about your writing projects you've done.
Yeah, well, we've left them off the last couple of weeks, but this kind of helps sponsor the show a little bit. You can help us out by my books. You can go to Amazon and get my books. You can go to, I've got Pin Me, Pay Me, and I've also got, what else do I have? I got The Education of a Wrestler. You can go to tinyurl.com/blazebook1 and get Pin Me, Pay Me, or you can go to tinyurl.com/blazebook2 and get The Education of a Wrestler. I kicked out on 2, of course. So yeah, and this helps sports a little bit of show there. Jeremy gets a little bit of kickback from that on the Amazon. I get a little bit of kickback from it on the Amazon. I'll sell a book or 2 and we all walk away happy. We all walk away with a smile on our face, and it keeps the podcast going because we do not have any big corporate fundraisers, or we don't have any big corporate sponsors, and we just had our we had our little we didn't even ask for much on our crowd fund. We asked for $350 and we got that, and that was enough to carry us through 18 months. So we still got about 6 months left on that. But every little thing helps. So go to Amazon and download a book, or better yet, get one in print copy. That way Jeremy and the show gets a little bit of kickback as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And we will have to discuss in the future doing Patreon, because I've seen some great stuff that's not overly complex that we could do, and just like do $1 or $2 a month and just have like those 2 tiers. So yeah. That way we're not, pushing real hard, but it's a way to make the show a little more self-sustaining. That would be great. But with that being said, again, go buy Pin Me, Pay Me. tinyurl.com/blazebook1. And I kicked that on to The Education of a Wrestler, tinyurl.com/blazebook2. If you've ever wondered what the life, and I'm going to use this term like I use it with actors and everybody else, what a working wrestler's life is like, these books will show you. And, if you've already got them and you got a friend who's into classic wrestling, buy them for your friend. Don't be a cheap ass. Show a little love. I'm sure your friends have supported you through some shitty times. Buy them this book. Show them you appreciate their care.
There you go. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. So, anything else we got to shout out here before we get into our topic?
You know what? Not at this time.
Not at this time.
Yeah.
Okay.
I do want to do. Okay, so we're going to cover the topic now, but I have a sidebar as soon as we start the topic that I'm going to start with. It kind of relates and kind of doesn't. So this week we are talking about the ugliest and useless title belts in pro wrestling history.
Yes.
Some will be a combination of the two. Some will just be ugly. Some will just be useless. But guys, if you run an indie fed out there and your title belt is the big gold belt with a little bit of colored enamel paint on it, stop fucking doing that. Oh my God, stop doing that. That your fed does not deserve that belt. Yeah. That was a very special belt made for a very special champion. There's plenty of nice boilerplate belts that will look good and you can buy, at just about any shop without breaking the bank. Stop using the most recognizable NWA title ever as your bullshit backyard fed belt, please. But now back to our regular programming.
Well, with that said, also, if you run an independent promotion, don't try to make your own belt by getting a piece of leather and then a license plate and then going to like Lowe's or Walmart and getting a big eagle door knocker.
Oh, yeah.
And screwing that to it so it has a big American eagle on it, but it's nothing more than a door knocker on your belt. You can do better than that. We've come a long way on the indie scene, and that's not a dig towards anyone. Not that I've seen that belt. I'm just saying, invest in it if you're going to run legitimate independent wrestling. Get something good, man. Don't copycat and make something good, because there's enough out there that you can do that with.
Oh yeah.
So yeah. So don't be ugly and don't be useless, I guess.
Yeah.
Be beautiful and be productive, by God. Get a good belt.
Yeah, absolutely.
With that said, we're going to talk about some belts that not so productive looking and not so pretty looking. Or they serve no purpose. I don't know if the belt's going to be productive, but they serve no purpose to some of the federations they represented. And again, we went with some of the bigger federations on this. So if your federation didn't get recognized, don't worry, we'll get you later. If you're not insulted yet, we'll get you.
Oh yeah. We're getting around to you. Matter of fact, let me bring this one up real quick. Jeff Jarrett's other wrestling company, Global Force Wrestling, every belt had that Slimer green Ghostbusters color on it. Talk about a shit color for a title belt.
Yeah.
Oh my God. The only thing worse than that I can imagine is orange. And let's start with orange with number 10.
Yes.
Taz's FTW title belt.
Yeah, I had to go and look this one up, Jeremy, because I wasn't sure what you was talking about. Because I'm used to seeing FTW in small capital letters or on someone's knuckles.
Mm-hmm.
I just got out of penitentiary or something. But then we started talking, and I looked at it, and I was like, okay, I see where he's going with this. And then Jeremy's like, Bobby, fuck the world, get it? I'm like, yeah, I was just about 20 years behind, Jeremy. I did get it. So, yeah, big orange belt. What'd you say, put some black tape over already existing belt?
Yeah, the first the first one was basically the big gold eagle with some yellow tape with block letters where they just wrote FTW on it.
There you go.
Now, in wrestling, there is a tradition of using tape and stickers to repurpose a belt temporarily. But one of my least favorite things that happens in wrestling is when somebody creates a parallel championship for themselves.
Yeah.
And it's just put a title on them. If they're worth like running a program against the champ, then give them the number 2 title. That's what your second tier title is for.
Yeah. Work your way up to that title.
Yeah, exactly. So and look, I don't mind Taz. I love watching his suplexes.
Oh, hell yeah. Taz, this is not a dig towards Taz whatsoever. He was a big part of the ECW, as we know, and, ended up working in WWE and has a great show out there, from my understanding, was podcast on the CBS network. So it's all due respect to you, Taz, but we're just talking about the belts, man. Talking about the belts.
So please don't choke us out, Taz.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, I've wrestled Taz before. About 3 nights down in Tennessee. He was finishing up in Smoky Mountain when I was coming in. Tremendous performer, man. Tremendous.
Oh, yeah. Did you get hit by his splitterplex?
I got hit with every damn suplex he wanted to put on me.
Because that is one that looks like that would hurt no matter how prepared you are for it, you know.
He took good care of me because we worked, and I had been overseas, and again I was coming in, and Sandy had said some good things about me. Of course, Jimmy had already talked to him, and then I was in the ring with Mark Curtis, so yeah. I went over all 3 nights because he was finishing up, and he was getting ready to go do the big ECW run. He was already there, but just not hadn't really taken off yet like it did. But so Jimmy was bringing me as a baby face, and Taz was leaving as a heel, so he understood that. So it's strictly business and professional. So with him being a heel and me being the new white fresh baby face, he suplexed me all he wanted. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But he took care of me, man, because I could work and he could work, and we had some pretty good matches. I think they was first and second matches on the card, so it wasn't like we had to go out there and tear the house down, but we did have to go out there and get the crowd excited, and also deliver really good solid matches. And the best of my recollection, I can say this: I always busted my ass in the ring. I know Taz was known for busting his ass in the ring, and we had Mark Curtis in there. So I'm sure if I look back on all 3 of the matches, they were top tier matches for first and second matches on a card. So yeah, a lot of respect for Taz.
Yeah, no, it's I like Taz. That belt was ugly and it was kind of worthless because all it was a way to go like, oh, I'm the real world champion. Well, if you were the real world champion, you'd have that belt. And ROH is doing that right now with a guy too, running around with a lookalike belt. Yeah. Enough.
Well, let's move on.
Enough about that.
Got any money? You got any money? You got any money, Jeremy? Can we go have some money for his next belt?
Yeah, the thing is, Bobby, everybody has a price.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and everybody also has an ugly belt when they make it themselves. So Ted DiBiase comes into the WWE playing the $1 Million Man. He wants the world title, but nobody will really sell it to him, or every time he works out a deal to buy it, it doesn't go through. It's kind of like a bad house deal. So he goes and has this monstrosity that looks like a bunch of dollar signs with cubic zirconia made.
Yeah.
Because that looks like a title belt. That looks like a championship.
Yeah. What can you say, man? I guess nowadays you might be able to catch Virgil out there on the independent scene of these Comic-Cons and stuff, maybe sitting over there, and he has a replica of that belt. So if you still want to see it, I guess there's 1 or 2 still in circulation. I don't know that Ted carries one around, but I think way back in, I guess it was like late 80s, early 90s there when he made that belt. And it was a horrendous looking belt, really.
It really was.
Part of it, I guess, too, is it's just it served its purpose for what they was trying to get across. It was supposed to look like that. That's the thing, was over the top big. Like you said, everyone has a price, and if I can't win the belt, I'll go out and buy and pay and make my own damn belt. And so it was supposed to be over the top. So, but it's just a horrendous looking friggin' belt. It is in no way a championship title belt that you'd want to be fighting for, if it were boxing or wrestling as it is, or MMA or what have you. It's just kind of one of those belts that's just too over the top. But again, we're talking about a time period, late 80s, early 90s there, when WWF at the time was going way over the top,
Oh, yeah.
So, and his character was over the top. So.
Yeah, the character was over the top, and this is also a time period that had the King as a title. It was getting swapped back and forth.
Yeah.
But also there's a little, I think, sometimes forgotten piece of history with the $1 Million title. There was another $1 Million champion.
Oh.
A fella named the Ringmaster.
Oh,
Steve Austin.
Look at the professor putting the thinking cap on.
Yeah, Steve Austin carried this belt for a couple weeks before DiBiase jumped to WCW, and then they had to quickly scuttle the Ringmaster, which was it sounds like a Spider-Man villain.
Yeah.
And it also sounds like he would wear a circus top hat, but they had to scuttle his character. And that's when the Stone Cold character came about.
Yeah, thankfully.
Thankfully. I mean, one of the probably 4 biggest stars ever in wrestling. Maybe. Absolutely. I mean, an argument can be made the biggest, but yeah. But yeah, that thing was just a monstrosity. It looked cheap too.
Yes. Again, I think it's part of with the. that F word, the diamonds, you know. I
Yep.
mean, it's, you know, so yeah. And I see something here. I don't know if this is true or not. Said it cost around $40,000 to make, but I dare say it might cost closer to $400 to make.
Well, you know, I don't know what brass and cubic zirconia were going for back then.
Yeah. So who knows?
Yeah. Who knows?
All right. So that was number 9, the $1 million belt. Okay. Number 8, we're going to dig a little bit on the divas, the butterfly belt that the divas wear. A couple different colors with it. I'm not a fan of it. I'm just going to tell you. I'm a fan of the divas. I like seeing something around their waist. You know, they got their own division, and those women that are the women's championship now has come a long way from just the divas to what talking pantyhose or panty and bra matches.
Yeah.
And just being out there looking good to where the girls and women professional wrestlers now, they've come to where they have a women's division, as we've seen, you know, this past year in WrestleMania, of course. It's come so far that, you know, they actually have some really good looking, you know, women's championship belts. But that divas belt, that butterfly, it was just too womanly, too over the top. It's almost like the $1 million belt. It's just like, it's goggly, you know. I don't know. I didn't like it. I didn't like it. It didn't even look comfortable when the ladies wore it. And I'm not saying it didn't look sexy on a few of them, because I'm sure it did. But it just looked uncomfortable. It just looked like, we're just putting this on these girls that are in these bra and panty matches. And I don't mean that disrespectful in any way, because like I said, we know that division has taken off now, you know.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
But the belt,
egads. Well, if I remember right, the belt came in both color choices of pink and purple, the only colors that women can wear, apparently.
Okay.
Yeah, it looked like a giant butterfly. It had a bunch of irregular shapes and something that looked super pokey at the top, which never makes sense to me. It looks like, I don't know, it looks like, remember in the early 2000s when, like, pants were bedazzled and that's how they sold them, with, like, just shit just, like, glued to the pockets. And
I can remember when you can order your own bedazzler at late night TV and bedazzle your own pants.
Well, but we remember that because neither one of us sleep worth a shit. So you know,
exactly, yeah. So we could bedazzle a belt, maybe. Who knows? But I didn't like that rugged looking edge at the top either. I don't like that. That looks like it just cut into your stomach. Of course, those girls don't have any. They're little flat stomachs. You know, I couldn't wear one of those, but I'm not a diva. What are you going to say?
Yeah,
you know?
Exactly. And this comes from the era when nobody wore their belt anyways. Everybody carried it on their shoulder.
Yeah.
You know, and there's a thing about belts, and I've said it before, and I'm going to say it again right now. A title belt should look like a prize you want to fight for.
Yes.
Plain and simple, that's what it should be. You know, it is a prize that you want to earn.
And I'm going to say this, just in case we have any new listeners, it is a belt. It is a strap. It's something you do wear. You can call it a title if you're in a title match for the belt. You're fighting for the belt, people. Mm-hmm. You're not fighting for the title. You know, you can call it what you want, but in our world, it's a fucking belt. Whether it be a woman's belt, a junior heavyweight belt, a world title belt, you know, it's a belt. You know, it's not just a title. That may have different meanings to different people, but in our world, we are calling these championship belts. And we're talking about the ugliest and the useless belts in the world of professional wrestling. So we're not talking about titles. We're talking about real belts.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so Bobby, let's drop back and punt here real quick.
Okay,
And let's tell everybody. Why don't you tell them about our YouTube page?
Yeah, so Tex Johnson out there, our graphics man, our man down in the boiler room, hanging out down there with Mick Foley, he does our YouTube page. And if you go to tinyurl.com/BBBB video, you'll see some really, really unique and very good quality videos on our YouTube channel. So go to YouTube, type in tinyurl.com/BBBB video. He's put up about 3 this week, and he's done we've got the most legit badasses. Paul Orndorff has like over 155,000 views. Ming has over like 105,000 views. Alondra Blaze has, I think, Oh, 15,000 views. And then right behind her is Missy Hyatt. But what I was going to say, this week, Tex put up about 3 more of our BR Valentines and most influential women in wrestling. And we're up to number 2. And I really like it because I'll let Jeremy tell you how Tex kind of does this, because on this week's one, you'll hear a lot of Jeremy. And because the number 2 was Missy Hyatt.
Oh, Missy Hyatt.
And so when you see it and you'll hear Jeremy talking, tell me a little bit about your Missy Hyatt there, Jeremy, and why don't you go and watch this on tinyurl.com/BBBB video.
Yeah, well, Missy Hyatt was the woman on UWF and NWA TV right as I entered my teen years, my pubescent years. Maybe she even caused me to enter puberty a year early. It's hard to say. But at the time, a lot of women in wrestling were a little rough looking, and Missy did not look rough.
And Jeremy's voice is on this video. Mine's on there, but Jeremy, Tex done a really good job with this one. And it's just our voices. What he does, he takes, little bites, I guess you call them, little bits from our show, and he puts some video footage to them. He done a good job on all these. But this week when there was like 3 of them, but the one I watched most recent was Missy. And I got to go kick out of it because there's Jeremy saying a lot of good things all about Missy, man. And it's pretty good. This one's going to get a lot of views. But, we got a YouTube channel. Tex does it from down there in the boiler room. And just hit us up on it at tinyurl.com/BBBB video, and it'll take you right to it. Be sure and give us a thumbs up or a like. Also, subscribe to it. We are almost at 4,500 subscribers, and we appreciate that very much. Tell a friend, hey, if they like old school wrestling, I just told a guy yesterday, go to that YouTube channel and watch a couple of those, because he was talking about, not to get too far off track, he was talking about what a talent Barry Windham was. And I said, you got to go and watch. You got to go and watch the video that we had when we talked about Buddy and Barry. So, there's a lot of good stuff out there. But, tell a friend, retweet it, send it out. Thumbs up it, subscribe, whatever you got to do, man. You'll enjoy it. If you like this show, you'll like what Tex does with our voices, with the background and the music, and the eye candy this week, especially with Missy Hyatt.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Oh, Missy Hyatt, yeah. Well, I've probably filled 5 hours of talking about her on this show already. So
we better move on back to our most ugliest and useless titles, belts in the world of professional wrestling. And again, you're listening to episode 44 with Jeremy, the Professor, Vilmer, and Bobby Blaze. And you can find us both on Twitter. You can find Jeremy at the Geekish Cast. You can find me at Bobby Blaze 744, and you can find us both together on Bell to Bell Blaze, and that's our dual page on Twitter. There's also mentioned YouTube, and there's also a Facebook group. So we were easy to find. Just find us and tune in to let us know what you think about the ugliest and most useless belts. You can always use the hashtag BBBB, and it'll bring us up. Let us kind of see what's going on when you send in some submissions. And all these guys, belts did come from submissions from several different people. I kind of condensed them down to about 15 or 20 like we always do. Jeremy had about 5 of his. I had about 5 of mine. We kind of mixed them up for everyone else's, and this is how we got our list. With that said, we need to move on to number 7, Jeremy.
Oh, number 7. Let me preface this a little bit.
Okay.
You got to go back and look at where TNA wrestling was at this point before Anthem bought them and kind of, revitalized it into Impact and started fixing it. TNA was the star fucker of wrestling companies. TNA
How you really feel, Jeremy?
Yeah, TNA wrestling was the ring rat of wrestling companies. They would just drop to their knees for any former WWE wrestler and give them whatever the fuck they wanted. And the Jeff Hardy TNA title belt is the perfect visualization of the stupid lengths they would go to grab even somebody who got fired for multiple drug violations, and it probably wasn't a good idea to keep them running. This thing somehow looked like a Decepticon mixed with the Divas title mixed with an acid trip.
Yeah, I'm looking at it right now, man. I can't help but laugh.
Yeah.
That is not something I would want to fight for to win. You know, it's just, I would have no interest. I'd be like, you know what, I'll give you a match, or if you're giving me a match, that's fine. I'm going to try to win, but I don't give a fuck about winning that particular belt you got, you know?
And I think
it's even got the big looking earrings on it, you know, with the
spreaders.
The spreaders, yeah. So I'm not into that. But I mean, if you are, that's your thing, that's cool. But I mean, it's got TNA wrestling, it's got the, you know, spreaders on it, it's got the lip pierce that looks like it's a monstrosity of a fucking belt. It's a motherfucker of a belt that I wouldn't want.
Oh yeah, and I think there were three different versions of it, and they were all ugliest sin. You know, and also it's that thing about the shape. You don't want sharp, jagged edges on shit you're gonna have around your waist.
No. Yeah, I see the other one. One of them does a really sharp looking jagged, looking up to the top of the forehead there to go right into your stomach. Man, I don't care if you flat abs or not, you're poking yourself with that motherfucker.
Oh yeah, I used to have a Batman bat symbol belt buckle. I wore it once and then I threw it away because my stomach was just beat to shit. Yeah. You know.
Oh man, that was number 7. I think we browbeat that one to death. Let's move on to another belt. Let's shift gears here to number 6, to the WCW Hardcore belt. And I know you have a little bit of things to say about the Hardcore at this point, but this is back when World Championship Wrestling decided to have the Hardcore division, and I was back there in those days, and I wasn't a contender to be in a Hardcore division. In fact, I was on my way out when they started doing some of those matches. Some of the guys that had the matches were so talented in wrestling, they probably shouldn't have been in those type of matches. But with that said, I understand why they were, because of the climate and the atmosphere that was taking place at that time. Everyone's just trying to basically hold on to a job with a fucking company that was, you know, just going every which direction they could. But they come out this Hardcore belt, man, and it just... I'll let you finish up, Jeremy.
Well,
I just know a shovel and crutches are involved, and I don't know, it's a Hardcore belt. What are you going to do?
All right. Well, so you can say whatever you want about hardcore wrestling, whether it was good or bad or garbage wrestling or whatever you want to call it. That's fine.
Right.
Okay. Yeah. There were things about it I liked, because you know what, ECW had a lot of hardcore garbage style wrestling, but you know what, they also had Malenko and Benoit and Jerry Lynn.
Yep.
Fantastic wrestlers who worked in that. To me, when you just have a hardcore title, that's a gimmick. That's not even a thing. You know, your wrestling company is either a hardcore company or it's not. So they had 2 different versions of this belt. I don't remember what order they went in, but I know each one was even uglier than the other one somehow. The one thing that was awesome that they did, though, Bobby, and this is about a friend of yours, Norman Smiley.
Yes.
When they put but I get people don't like stupid humor in wrestling sometimes. Norman Smiley as hardcore champ was fucking hilarious. I mean,
yes,
accidentally screaming your way and falling down slapstick style to a win week after week was incredible. And coming out wearing like football pads, just everything about everything about his hardcore title reign was outstanding.
Yes, and I figured you was going to say that, and we didn't even talk about that in post-production. And that's one of the things that's what I was getting at. Some of the guys... Norman is such a tremendous talent, had wrestled all over the world, and of course now he's working with developmental in some capacity with WWE, and that's great because he's a first-class dude, man. But I'm going to tell you, it's one of those things where you're like, why in the world do they put him in a hardcore title when he can go out here and have all these matches with your Malenkos, your Benoits, and with the big guys too? But again, it was the climate, the backstage atmosphere, and what they wanted you to do. And you know, like I said, people were just glad to be getting a paycheck at some point there. But yeah, he would come out. I remember the one when you mentioned the football pads, and he'd act all scared, this and that, and the screaming, and it's just hilarious. So, and that's one way. Here we are talking about 20 some odd years later. We're talking about ugly title. Was it useless too? Maybe, but the thing was, he got it over.
Yeah.
That's the whole thing. When someone puts something, I don't want to get too far off base, but it's one of those things where they say, you know what, here's what we're going to do with this, and you're like, oh fuck, this is just such a terrible idea. They're wasting my talent, or they're wasting some of the most talented guys here, putting them in this division. But the thing is, he got it over, and that's what the business is getting your gimmick over, or getting that gimmick over. And in this case, that gimmick was that belt, or the belt was the gimmick, and Norman did get it over. So yeah, back on track though. The belt itself, like you said, one was uglier and the other was uglier.
Yep.
So, but he got it over. He got it over.
Oh God, I mean that both of those belts look like pollywogs splattered against a mud fence, man. I just shit. Okay, well let's pay some bills real quick and then we'll keep moving here. Hey Bobby.
Okay.
Bobby,
Yes.
how do you feel about Amazon Prime?
I like Amazon Prime, man. I do. I like to order books and I get free shipping, and I order little things all the time and I get free shipping. I get 2-day delivery, and now I'm in a position where I got some 1-day delivery, and that's real good, and it's free. The shipping was free because I am a Prime member, and I also like their streaming services. So don't twist my arm. Don't get me in a hammerlock. Just get me Prime, man. And one way you can do that is go to tinyurl.com/BB try Prime. Take over, Jeremy.
Well, yeah, it's, so I haven't had cable in 10 years. I watch a lot of streaming services and that sort of thing. Amazon Prime is developing a lot of great original content, but they also have great content from around the world. Like one of my favorite TV series, Corner Gas. It's a Canadian series. Hardly any Americans have seen it. It's all available on Amazon. And trust me, guys, if you have never seen this show and you like sitcom-style comedies, you want to check it out. It is hilarious. The original Star Trek, or actually all Star Trek, it's available on there. So, I mean, all your nerdy bests are available through Amazon Prime. And like Bobby was saying, you also get the free shipping, which Amazon is currently updating to 1-day shipping.
Yes.
And so you're going to be able to get stuff almost immediately when you buy through Amazon Prime. And right now, you can try it for 30 days free. Bobby, why don't you give them that address again?
Yes, it's tinyurl.com/BB try Prime, and you have nothing to lose. Just go on there, sign up. The show gets a little bit of a kickback. Try it for 30 days. You don't like it, it doesn't cost you a dime. You can cancel. But I bet you'll love it. I'm telling you. tinyurl.com/BB try Prime, and give the show a little bit of a kickback, and also give yourself a treat. I think I mentioned too, I'm a movie guy. About 3 or 4 weeks ago, I ordered Raging Bull. It came in. I got it within 2 days. A couple weeks ago, I texted Jeremy on a Saturday. I was sitting here doing nothing except for having a couple beers, and I pulled up Barbarossa, because we mentioned that on the podcast.
Fantastic movie.
This past Tuesday, I pulled up another oldie. I've already seen the remake of it, and that's fine and dandy, blah, blah, blah. But I'm an old school guy. I went and watched The Mechanic, man, with Charles Bronson and Jan Michael Vincent. I watched the original Mechanic this past Tuesday on Prime. I didn't pay a dime, man, because I've already got the Prime. Yep. I just downloaded it, and it's right there in my living room for 2 hours. I'm sitting there. I'm having a couple beers. I'm watching a movie from like 1972, 73, and I'm enjoying the fuck out of it, man. Some of those movies don't date themselves. That was one that's just timeless. And so I find old movies on there all the time. In addition to, I'm waiting for season 3 for the what is her name?
Marvelous Miss Maisel.
Marvelous Miss Maisel. That is a great fucking comedy about comics, and I'm looking forward to that. I have watched the show. I watched one episode of the show you keep recommending. I will get back to that. I was just waiting late. I said, I'm going to try that, and I'll get caught up on that too. What's the name of Gasoline? What did you say?
Corner Gas.
Corner Gas. I watched one episode, and I'll be a man of my word, and I'll watch a few more, and get into that, Jeremy. So thanks for turning me on to that.
Yeah, some of the best writing on TV in the last 15 or 20 years right there.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
And I'm not just saying that because I'm kind of friends with a handful of people that are involved in that show. But
yeah. I knew you were. That's good.
Well, but I became friends with them because of that show. So
there you go.
Hey, Bobby, you know what else I just did? Just to kind of celebrate the opposite of what we're talking about this week, I just went and looked at that book called Big Gold, a close look at pro wrestling's most celebrated championship belt, talking about the Ric Flair Big Gold NWA/WCW heavyweight title.
Okay.
And if our listeners are interested in checking that book out, they can go to tinyurl.com/BB Big Gold Belt.
All right.
Yeah. It is one of the most in-depth books about a title belt you'll ever read. There's also another one about the Dome Globe NWA title.
Okay.
But we'll do that when we do maybe most prominent world titles or something later on. So.
Okay. So BB Big Gold Belt.
That's right. So, if you're interested in learning about the Big Gold, go check that out. But we got a show to wrap up, so let's move on
number
to
5.
Yeah.
Number 5. Okay. I think we both wanted this on this list. I think it comes in at the really appropriate place here. I had forgotten who one of the champions was that held it until you refreshed my memory last week and again this week. But I'm talking about the Western States Championship belt, and I know Jeremy hates that belt, and it was worn by Larry Zbyszko, who I was drawing a blank on, and Big Barry Windham, man.
Oh, yeah.
So tell us about why you hate that belt, and also this comes into the useless part, too, when we talked about these belts.
Yeah, I'm not even going to go as far as saying this one was necessarily ugly. It was black and red and gold, which is kind of garish, but not horrible. I've seen good belts in the color scheme. Let's break it down a little bit, though. Okay, so they want to celebrate Barry Windham. Look, Barry Windham should have had a title. But you know what you do to a guy who should have a title? You give him a title with a fucking lineage. You give him a title with a history. You don't go, hey, here's some shit I just made up for you.
Yeah.
Secondly, you know where WCW/the NWA never really caught on? West of the Mississippi.
There you go.
There were matches and stuff, but it wasn't like they had a strong foothold west of the Mississippi. So that's Western States. Okay, well,
yes.
I guess back in the day, pre-Roy Shire or somebody had a Western States title. I don't know where it was. So then they throw another word on there just to convolute this son of a bitch even more. Western States Heritage title. Oh, shit. All right.
Yeah, some history to it, Jeremy.
Yeah. So now they decide that, hey, you know what, that belt we created just for Barry, let's have Barry drop it to somebody. Who should we give it to? How about that guy from Minnesota, Larry Zbyszko? Oh, shit. Okay. Hey, where should Larry win the Western States Heritage title? Oh, how about New York State? Oh, yeah. Is it going to be West New York State? Nope, it's going to be the eastern part of New York State. Oh, shit. Okay. So now we got the Western States Heritage title, no longer worn by the guy it was created for. They give it to Zbyszko. Now, I love Barry Windham. I love Larry Zbyszko. I think they're both great.
Absolutely.
So, but here's the thing, you're looking at a time when wrestling companies are falling like dominoes, right? And you look at a guy and you're like, hey, here's this title we created. We're going to try to give it some prestige. Let's give it to Vern Gagne's son-in-law. Right when Vern Gagne is going to need Larry to come back and be world champion over there. That sounds like a fantastic idea, you know? Yeah.
Yeah,
Bobby,
stick around this business, 15 minutes it'll change.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. But just everything about this belt. 2 people held it. Why didn't they give him the national title or something? If you want to give Barry Windham a title, give him a good title.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree, man.
Go dig up a Texas title that's been defunct for a little while. Give him that.
There you go.
Yeah.
Good idea. Hell, we should be booking somewhere.
Well, you know what? Oh no, you know what I like? I like armchair booking because nobody can go back and criticize me later when the show doesn't pull good ratings.
Okay.
Yeah.
Booking is tough, man.
Oh yeah. No, it's easy for me to have an opinion when my paycheck doesn't depend on it.
Right on.
Yeah,
I hear you.
Yeah.
I hear you. Well, let's move on, man, right along our list into our top 3. Let's do this.
Oh, no. Wait. We're skipping number 4. Let's get number 4 first.
Number 4.
Yeah.
I was going to go back. I'm sorry. Number 10 was Taz's FTW ECW belt. Number 9 was $1 million belt, DiBiase. The Divas Butterfly belt. The Hardy TNA belt. The WCW Hardcore belt. And now we just had the Western States Heritage Championship belt, which wasn't all that ugly. We admittedly say that, but it was fucking pretty useless, as Jeremy just explained to you. And we're going to go into 4 here. And I think we put these in a proper order. I was looking right at it when I said 3 because I had it in my mind we were going to switch 3 and 4, and they could have been interchangeable, but I didn't switch it on my paper. And so tell them what number 4 was, please.
And I don't even think we should distinguish here. I'm going to say, you've got it written down as Cena's spinner belt, but I'm going to say U.S. and World because they were both ugly and stupid belts.
Yeah. What the fuck is that? Bling bling or something?
Oh,
I don't know.
Yeah. It would have been one thing if just Cena had used them while he was doing his white boy rapper gimmick.
Right.
But they were made the official belts, and they weren't just ugly; they were fugly.
Yeah.
I
don't know. I'm with you. If it would just been Cena only, Why he done it, his rap gimmick type deal, and there's no disrespect to Cena or anything. If anything, that added to his part of his character, but should have been recognized as one of the main title belts, and then other people wear it and this and that. No, and it was fucking ugly, like you said. So that's why it makes our list, man. The spinner belt, a belt shouldn't fucking spin around. A belt should be something you're fucking fighting for to win, and let the guy, when he wins the belt, go out and buy some bling bling and wear some fucking gold necklaces and bracelets and earrings and what have you. But you don't want that shit spinning around. Go buy you some fucking spinners on your car and drive it down the street for all I fucking care. But don't put it on your title belt, Yeah,
it's just, it was not a good look.
No. So that's all I got to say about it, to be honest with you.
All right. Let's move on to number 3.
Yes.
All right, so this is the first title belt I ever saw, and I was glad they got rid of it pretty quickly after I saw it. It's going to be the big green belt that Bob Backlund lost to the Sheik, that the Sheik lost to Hogan. It was garish. It was green. The etching on the plate wasn't very deep, so you couldn't quite see it. And then the side plates were the names and reigns of the previous champions. I don't know how far back, but there were a ton of them on there, so I assume all the way back to the founding of the WWF title.
That's what I'm thinking. Like you said, though, you have to really find a good image of it because the etching isn't very deep, to get a good cutout or a good look at it on those side plates. And then the color, you're like, I'm not sure why it's not black or, well, any other color besides green, I'm not really sure what the thinking was on that. I watched the product at that time like you did, and it's one of those things where you're like, thankfully, once Backlund dropped it to the Sheik and the Sheik dropped it to Hogan, etc., we got some changes real quick, thankfully, during that time. But I guess Backlund had worn that thing. I know he was champion there for like 5 years, so I don't know how, maybe since 78 he had worn that. And I'm not sure who wore it before him, as far as if Superstar had it or Bruno had it, or how long it had been in existence up there. So I'm not going to bullshit my way through any history, but I'm just not sure why you make a title belt green. Is that just to go against the grain or whatever, being different, WWF or whatever, So, but they got rid of it eventually.
Yeah, I don't know. I can't figure out. I mean, I don't want to disrespect whoever designed and made the title. No. I don't know who it was. It seems like, I don't know, it looks like a belt designed by a committee. It just, oh, goddamn. It's like,
put this on here, put that on there.
Yeah. Oh, God, it's just garish. I mean, just in so many ways. But you know what? I've seen an uglier belt, Bobby.
Really?
Yes, I have.
I wonder who wore one uglier than that.
Well,
I know a couple people.
Yeah. I would tell you that it was Austin Idol, but I'm afraid he'd pop my head like a zit, so.
So you're going to say Jerry the King
Lawler?
I'm
going to say Jerry Lawler, yeah.
And that is the CWA, Continental Wrestling Association, the license plate belt. That'd probably be one of my top picks if something hadn't happened here recently, but we'll get into that in just a minute. And I'm with you. Hey, I've wrestled Lawler. I had the honor of meeting Austin Idol for the first time ever just a couple of summers back, and that was pretty cool and all. But, I wouldn't want to disrespect either one of the men wearing the belt, but I'll tell you this, the belt looked fucking like it's made down here in Eddiesville State Prison in Kentucky. I have a license plate, and they said, here, put this on here. They've got like a part of a Canadian flag, United States flag, Puerto Rican flag, an Italian flag, I guess, and then it's got some lions, and I can't make out too much of it. It's just a big-ass thick belt all the way around. It doesn't really taper too much other than it looks like a license plate in the center with two smaller license plates as your sidebars.
Yep.
It is at least on, some leather with some buckles, but it's a terrible, terrible looking belt. And I know Lawler wore that belt around for a long time.
Oh, yeah. I can't. The flags on it are wrong. I mean, the Canadian flag is wrong. The I don't know if that's supposed to be the Australian or the New Zealand flag. It's not right.
Yeah, I looked at them too. One of them's Puerto Rican. I can't tell if it's right.
Yeah.
I mean, it's And one of them looks like the Japanese. They may have gotten it right, but it looks like the red is the flag part and the white is in the middle, if that's supposed to represent Japan or not. I don't really know, because it'd be just the opposite. You'd have the white on the edges and a red in the center. But I don't know what they've done with it. So
I don't know, man.
It is considered a world heavyweight champion, is what it says on it. Continental Wrestling Association's world heavyweight champion. And that is the title that Lawler won from Idol. So go figure, right?
Yeah. So I would assume that's about the time they pulled away from the AWA then.
Yeah. I think so. And I would probably have that, because that's, growing up watching that area and watching that era of wrestling. I'd probably have that as my number one belt, thinking back, because you brought it up before. And you also had refreshed my memory on that Western Heritage belt. So I appreciate that, because you are the professor. But something happened here recently that made me say, this has kind of propelled us to have this list come up as it did. And that is the new Waffle House Championship belt, the WWE 24/7 belt that they just came out with. That may be the ugliest belt that's come out here recently, and we had talked a little bit beforehand. I just think it's ugly, and I think it may even be useless, but I'm going to let you exaggerate a little bit more about that if you don't care.
Well, this is, okay, so this belt is a circular plate that says 24/7. This thing that the WWE is doing now, where their belts look like a class ring, is just, I don't know, just ridiculous to me. Again, they don't look like a prize people are fighting over.
Right.
So it's got the worst aspects of the new title belts, but it's also on a big green round leather strap like the old big gold belt, so that's ugly. And then it's got like the worst elements of the WWE hardcore 24/7 title rules, as I understand it anyhow. This thing is like 3 terrible titles got together and had a baby, and it just created one terrible title out of all of them.
Yeah.
Oh, it is. I mean, it's ugly. It seems maybe they'll find a way to creatively use it, but just looking at it from its launch, it just looks terrible. And I feel bad for Mick Foley. They trot him out to display this thing, and he's got look, he's a champ, man. He's a fucking trooper. He's gonna do it,
like Corny says, and I've done Mick come through Smokey when I was there. I've done appearances with him. One of the most nicest guys ever, man, and he's willing to do anything to help other people out too. And also, he likes collecting a paycheck,
Mm-hmm.
And so, but yeah, nothing against Mick Foley by any means, but this belt that he had to go out there and present, man, it is just. That the side plates are just like blah, like they've been scratched or something out. I don't know what. The WWE at the top and champion and 24/7. What they did here is they missed putting 365 on a damn thing. They need to put 24/7 365 so you can defend that thing every fucking day of the year, not just 24, not just 7 days a week, 24 hours a day,
Yeah.
But anyway, that to us, that's our number one that we had talked about. And some of these could have been interchangeable like we always talk about, but we had a lot of fans hit us up with the hashtag BBBB. Some people inboxed or direct messaged me, and we just kind of compiled all of them. We came up with this top 10, and we hope you like this top 10. But number one, just here recently revealed, the 24/7 hardcore title belt that's out there now in the WWE.
Oh yeah, and here's the thing. I know the WWE can make nice looking belts. So look at that NXT North American Championship. Yeah. That is a nice looking belt. And then there's other belts like, I could just go down a list of belts that could have been on here. The WWF Canadian title, the WWF European title. Look, if you're not doing shows in Europe all the time, you don't need a European title.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
If Dino Bravo is your only Canadian guy, he doesn't need to be a champion. Sergeant Slaughter's America's title, or whatever he carried around. It was just basically a red, white, and blue bauble for Sergeant Slaughter to have at the AWA.
Yeah.
I was going to say, my other one of my least favorites from the past is the AWA Bare Knuckles Champion. Oh, God. Just pointless,
Yeah.
Especially not Bare Knuckle, Brass Knuckle.
Yeah, I know what you meant. Brass knuckle, yes.
And back in the days when that title was around, brass knuckles were a felony in like 48 states.
Yeah,
so,
and that's why you had those special matches.
Yeah.
So
that's
why Malenko was a brass knuckles champion in Texas and Florida back when they had those kind of matches. Ronnie Garvin, Hands of Stone, back when they had those kind of matches, and it meant something. And you built up, like we talked about our cage matches and your gimmick matches. Things build up for a reason, and also because just like the move to pile driver was outlawed in different promotions, brass knuckles had been outlawed in states legally, so that's the thing. It was a gimmick to do, but it's not the thing you need to have a title for, or a belt for, I should say.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's our top 10 belts. There could have been another 10 on there, probably another 20 on there of the most ugliest and most useless belts in professional wrestling. And at that, Jeremy, I'm just going to say so long, wrestling fans, and I'll see you next week or talk to you next week. And I'm glad to be back here with the Professor, Jeremy Vilmer, one more time on a Bell to Bell with Bobby Blaze podcast.
All right, everybody. It has been our pleasure to have you. It's been your pleasure to listen to Bell with Bobby Blaze. We'll see you all next week.
Thanks for listening to Bell with Bobby Blaze. You can follow the show on Twitter at Bell to Bell Blaze. You can also follow Bobby on Twitter at BobbyBlaze744 and Jeremy on Twitter at The Geekish Cast. To purchase one of Bobby's books, you can visit tinyurl.com/blazebook1 to purchase Pin Me, Pay Me, Have Boots, Will Travel. And you can visit tinyurl.com/blazebook2 to get I Kicked Out on 2, The Education of a Wrestler. To donate to the show's podcast hosting fees, you can visit GoFundMe.com/Bell to Bell podcast hosting fees. Be sure to include a hyphen in every word in Bell to Bell podcast hosting fees. If you follow and listen to the show on Apple Podcasts, please leave a 5-star review. Be sure to share the show with any wrestling fan you may know, and get on the Facebook page where you can keep up with Bell to Bell fans just like you. Again, thanks for listening to the program, and look for the show again next time.